6. Rounds of heavy rain continue to move across the mountains. Most counties remain under a flash flood watch through tomorrow evening. Chief Meteorologist Paige Noel begins our severe weather alert day coverage with what to expect during the next few hours. Paige?
Well, the good news is, Steve, the severe threat's starting to die down, but it's that heavy rain once again that we're really going to have to keep an eye on overnight, especially as we head into your Tuesday. We already broke some records for today. So Jackson broke record rainfall, or daily maximum rainfall was set at London and Jackson today. So that old record of 0.93 inches was set back in 2000. They received 1.29 inches at Jackson, and over into London received at the Corbin Airport 2.33 inches of rain. Broke that old record of 1.78 inches set back in 1960. So that flash flood watch definitely still in effect. That goes until 8 p.m. on your Tuesday. Looking at radar now, so we're starting to see those showers and storms die down a little bit. Hopefully that trend does look to continue. I think we could still see a few more showers and storms as we head into the rest of the overnight hours, but it's our friends over in Clay County we are keeping an eye on, as they have received a lot of rain, especially the Burning Springs community, where we've already had reports of some flash flooding. So that warning is still in effect and it remains in effect until about 6:45. So we are still under that slight risk. So a few of those showers and storms popping up could be on the strong to severe side. Remember, that's a 2 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. So more severe weather, more rain is expected as we head into your Tuesday. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes.
All right. Thank you, Paige. Heavy rain overnight flooded parts of downtown Manchester. Early this morning, people had to evacuate the homeless shelter in Clay County. More than 4 inches of water made its way into their building. WYMT's Lauren McCourt talked with the director of the shelter, who says he had never seen anything like it before.
As rain poured down Sunday night.
I've been here 30 years, and I've never seen it rain sustained like it rained last night.
The water rose quickly in downtown Manchester.
I was scared, terrified really.
It's not a sight anyone at the town's only homeless shelter ever hoped to see.
One of the residents here, she woke us up and said, hey, we have water in the floor.
The torrential rain settling on the street.
We looked outside the whole road and it was covered.
And running down the hill, finding its way through the back door.
One down, call Ken. If you ever need anything, call Ken.
The shelter's director, Ken Bolin, rushed to check things out.
I said to all the residents to get on the top bunks.
A faith-based shelter. Bolin says he knew everyone would be protected when they needed it the most.
Heritage Inn really graciously opened up their doors so we could bring our residents there.
With damage to only a few minor items.
But we can replace those things, yeah.
Bolin says the blessing here is that everyone made it out safely. In Clay County, Lauren McCourt, WYMT Mountain News.
Bolin says they hope to have everything cleaned up by tomorrow so people can move back in. Heavy rain caused serious issues in Powell County. Crews had to rescue an elderly woman. You see her there after a mudslide trapped her inside her home. Several crews worked to get the woman out safely. It took about 4 hours. Rescue crews had to cut a hole in the roof to reach her. First responders say they found her wedged in a small space inside the home.
I don't call it luck. I call it the grace of God.
It's a low frequency incident. You don't see this type of rescue that often.
The mudslide pushed the home off its foundation, basically wiping out the first floor and causing the second floor to collapse. Officials say the woman appeared to be okay. A woman and a little girl were killed in a crash in southern Kentucky this morning. The woman who died was a rural mail carrier. Her 5-year-old granddaughter also died in the crash that closed a busy highway in Pulaski County for hours. As WYMT's Phil Pendleton tells us, what caused the crash is still unknown.
Wet roads may have been a factor.
I think it was just starting to rain at that time.
But it's not known what caused a Kia and a Chrysler van to collide in a violent head-on crash around 6:30 Monday morning.
Of course, here in the limits, you would think that, especially if it's starting to rain, it would be at a slower rate than the speed limit.
It's only 35 in Burnside where the crash happened. Police say the Kia left the northbound lane and into the southbound lane where it collided with the van, killing 42-year-old Deanna Cheney and her 5-year-old granddaughter, Kylie Hobbs.
The lady that died and the 5-year-old passenger, they were both in the southbound vehicle.
Cheney was a carrier for the Eubank Post Office. The U.S. Postal Service issued a statement asking the community to join them as they pray for those affected by the tragic accident.
It appeared that everyone was wearing seat belts, and the 5-year-old was in a booster seat.
Police say alcohol or drugs are not suspected factors. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Police say the driver of the Kia, Brandy C. Montgomery, is being treated at UK Hospital. We want to remind you about a golden alert issued for a missing Floyd County man. Here he is. 20-year-old Gideon Pitts was last seen leaving his home in the Spurlock Creek area around 6:30 Sunday evening. He was wearing blue jeans and a blue t-shirt. Officials say he may show childlike behavior. If you have any information, call Kentucky State Police at 606-433-7711 or Prestonsburg Dispatch at 606-886-1010. A man and woman are dead in what deputies are calling a murder-suicide. They say the early investigation shows 55-year-old Alice Harold shot and killed her boyfriend, 57-year-old James Hale, before killing herself. WYMT's Justin Case is live with the latest on this developing story. Justin?
Steve, right now I'm in downtown Jackson. Behind me you can see the Breathitt County Justice Center, and behind that is the Breathitt County Courthouse. But this shooting happened in the Shoulder Blade community of Breathitt County, which is off of Highway 30. Now, officials say that James Hale's brother went to the couple's home after not hearing from his brother or his brother's girlfriend in some time. Now, what officials say is that when Hale's brother entered the home, he found his brother and his brother's girlfriend dead inside the home. Officials tell us, based on the way the bodies were found inside the home and where the empty shell casings were found, they believe Alice Harold shot and killed James Hale before shooting herself. Investigators believe the shooting may have happened a week ago or longer before the bodies were found.
The decomposition on the bodies would indicate, the autopsy will give us the official time of death, but the decomposition on the bodies, it would appear that they've been deceased for, 7 to 10 days.
Steve, one of the other questions that I asked is if they thought anyone else was involved in this shooting investigation. They say the doors were not broken into. All the valuables, such as money, there were prescription drugs, the guns, they were all still found inside, so they do not believe anyone else was involved. The next step in this investigation, the bodies will be sent to Frankfurt, where a gunshot residue test will be done to see who essentially pulled the trigger and did the shooting, committed the act, the murder-suicide. But that will not be released for some time, but we'll have the full story coming up tonight at 11. Steve?
Right. Justin, thank you. A 12-year-old boy was killed when a vehicle hit his dirt bike. This happened Saturday night on Kentucky 979 in the T-Berry community of Floyd County. WYMT's Marianne Fletcher talked with some of his teachers who say the next school year will not be the same without him.
Starting a new school can be tough.
He was happy, but he was also shy and quiet.
Renee Gabbard is a teacher at J.M. Stumbo Elementary School.
Actually, I had the pleasure of being one of his teachers.
But 7th grade student Dylan Mullins took it in strides while making new friends with his classmates and teachers.
So he taught me a few things as well as me teaching him some things.
But now there is an empty seat where Dylan should be learning.
It broke my heart. I mean, I couldn't believe it, honestly. It was just like, I'm going to probably cry here.
12-year-old Dylan was killed while riding his dirt bike Saturday night on Kentucky 979 in Floyd County.
I mean, I don't have kids, so all these school kids are my babies.
A crash that is shaking the entire community.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Have a good day.
It's heartbreaking. I've got 2 kids of my own, and I can't imagine what the family's going through.
Will Watts is another teacher who helped Dylan.
The students become a part of everybody's lives, the teachers, the other students. We're a very close-knit school anyway.
And while this blue-eyed preteen may never walk through these doors again,
it's just not going to be the same without him. I mean, he had the most beautiful blue eyes.
His memory will forever fill their hearts.
And the little grin, I mean, that's my memory of Dylan.
In Floyd County, Marianne Fletcher, WYMT Mountain News.
Visitation for 12-year-old Dylan Mullins will be at the River of Life Free Will Baptist Church tomorrow and Wednesday at 2. His funeral is Thursday at 1. Basketball fans in Floyd County and across the state are mourning the loss of King Kelly Coleman. Many say he's one of the best, if not the best player to ever come out of the mountains. Sports Director Marcus Browning joins us now with more. Marcus.
Steve, not many players carry the title of king, but if they do, chances are pretty good that they are pretty good as well. King Kelly Coleman was no exception. Coleman played for Wayland, a small school out of Floyd County. There, Coleman set many state records, including most points in a single season, field goals made in a game, and field goals attempted, and of course, being the state's leading scorer. Coleman led the Wasp to the Sweet 16 in 1956, where he set the record for the most points in a tournament game with 68.
It just made you, as a young boy, feel so proud of being from the mountains, and made you want to play basketball more than anything in the world. They were awesome. He went in with a 47-point average, which just seemed tremendous at the time because that carries a lot of weight, 47 points a game.
Kentucky coach Adolph Rupp called Kelly Coleman the greatest player to come out of the state. We'll have more on the King and his legacy coming up in sports. Steve.
Marcus, thank you very much. And for those who knew him, King Kelly Coleman's life was about more than basketball. He enjoyed telling stories and inspired many young athletes here in eastern Kentucky. WYMT's Macy Marie went to the old Wayland gym where he played during high school and talked to one of Coleman's closest friends about the man he was in more recent years.
Remembering a legend.
He went out and he performed better than these people expected, and so that's just an amazing feat in itself.
J.R. Van Hoos says he grew up hearing stories about King Kelly Coleman.
That's what I want people to realize. He was definitely a great person.
Van Hoos, like Coleman, earned the title of Mr. Kentucky Basketball. Their love for the sport is how their friendship started.
He wasn't a basketball player. He was my friend. He was my very best friend.
The pair met long after their days on the court. But Coleman always enjoyed telling his basketball stories.
Since coal mining and the coal industry was known as King Coal, he became known as King Kelly, since he was the greatest thing to come out of the mountains since coal.
Friends say Coleman lived up to his title and inspired young athletes to do the same.
Everybody wanted to be a legend like him, and nobody's done it since.
But Van Hoos says what he will miss the most.
Very caring, loving, humorous individual.
Is not the basketball star.
I think a lot of people didn't get to see that side of him, and so I'm very thankful that I was able to experience that.
But the friend he knew.
I'm definitely going to miss him.
In Floyd County, Macy Marie, WYMT Mountain News.
King Kelly's visitation will be held at the Wayland Gym from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. on Friday. The visitation will continue at the gym at 10 a.m. on Saturday, and the funeral will be held at noon Saturday at Hall Funeral Home in Martin. Well, today marked the official first day of sales for Hazard's new Steak and Shake. After breaking ground in February, the building's doors were open this morning as the burgers hit the grill. Officials say this is adding 85 jobs to Perry and surrounding counties, showing what is good for one is good for all.
We're tearing the walls down, and we have to become one region, and all of us work together, and not only those counties here, but Perry County is willing to work with the surrounding counties to help them as well.
Steak and Shake is open every day from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m. and I'm sure it's going to be.
And if you are going to be headed out this evening, just make sure to have that rain gear. Heavy rain still expected as we head into your Tuesday as well. Damaging winds are also a little bit on the higher scale. We'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes.
Also coming up, how Kentucky doctors plan to fight Kentucky's high suicide rate.